Hello, ladies and gentlemen's age is a privilege denied to many. To grow older is to collect wisdom, experiences, stories, and strength. But sometimes the habits we've accumulated over the years, whether out of pain, pride, or sheer routine, can begin to push people away without us even realizing it. Today's message isn't meant to shame, but to awaken. It's not about blaming ourselves or others. It's about becoming more aware, more compassionate, and more intentional, because no matter our age, we all want the same thing: love, respect, and meaningful connection. Self-awareness is the first step toward healing relational habits. Many people assume that just because they've lived long enough, they automatically see themselves clearly. But the truth is, age doesn't always equal awareness. In fact, sometimes the longer we live, the more blind we become to our patterns, because they're so ingrained, so automatic, we stop noticing them. Self-awareness is not about guilt or regret. It's about waking up to the impact we have on others. When we take a moment to step outside of ourselves and reflect on how we speak, how we listen, how we carry our energy, we open the door to powerful transformation. It takes courage to look in the mirror and admit that something we've done for years may be driving people away. It takes humility to accept that just because we didn't mean harm doesn't mean harm wasn't caused. Maybe it's the way we speak sharply when we feel ignored. Maybe it's the sarcasm we've used as humor, not realizing it stings the people we love. Maybe it's interrupting others, thinking we're helping or correcting, when really we're shutting someone down. These aren't character flaws. These are habits. Habits that can be unlearned with intention. True self-awareness comes from asking honest questions. When was the last time I made someone feel truly heard? Do I make space in conversations, or do I fill them with my own opinions? Do I listen to understand, or just wait for my turn to talk? These are questions not meant to punish us but to teach us. When we begin to notice how we show up in relationships, we can choose to show up differently. We can pause before speaking. We can ask for feedback from loved ones. We can take note of patterns: when we get defensive, when we shut down, when we dominate, and respond with grace instead of pride. Self-awareness is also about emotional honesty. Many older adults have been taught to suppress their emotions or to toughen up through life's hardships. That emotional armor may have served a purpose at one time, but it can block connection now. Being aware of what's under the surface, loneliness, fear, longing for respect, and help us communicate better and relate to others more authentically. There's great strength in saying, I want to connect more, but I don't always know how. That kind of openness doesn't push people away. It draws them in. It invites healing and understanding. Age should not be an excuse to stop growing emotionally and relationally. Growth doesn't end at 40, 60, or even 80. As long as we are breathing, we are capable of change, of learning, of becoming more whole. There's a lie that says older adults can't change, that they're too set in their ways. But that is only true if we believe it to be. The human spirit is incredibly adaptive. It just needs the right mindset, the right motivation, and the right support. Emotional and relational growth means staying curious. It means asking ourselves, what is it like to be on the other side of me? It means taking the risk to try something different, to speak more gently, to apologize when we've overstepped, to express love in a new way. It means not hiding behind the phrase, that's just how I am, because we are not stone, we are not fixed in place. We are living, breathing, evolving people with the ability to bring light or tension into every space we enter. To grow is to stay relevant, not in fashion or trends, But in relationship, our kids, our grandkids, our friends, they are not asking us to be perfect. They're asking us to be present. They want us to meet them with humility, not superiority, with understanding, not dismissal. Growth keeps us open. It keeps our hearts soft and our minds engaged. It makes us easier to love and safer to talk to. And when we continue to grow emotionally and relationally, we become bridges, not barriers. People others want to be around, learn from, and be inspired by. That is the gift of growth. It's not just for us. It blesses everyone around us. Negative habits like complaining or judging create distance, not respect. It's easy to fall into the habit of pointing out what's wrong, what's not working, what used to be better, or how people today don't do things the way they should. But constant criticism, even if it comes from a place of concern or experience, doesn't build connection. It builds walls. People start to avoid conversations. They begin to feel like they're walking on eggshells. They feel drained instead of uplifted, and that's not what most older adults truly want. Deep down, there's often a desire to be valued, to be heard, and to be loved. But when that desire comes out as negativity, it produces the opposite effect. Complaining isn't just about words, it's about energy. When every conversation becomes a report of aches, politics, money issues, or how the world is getting worse, it sends a message that life is nothing but frustration. And that energy spreads. People begin to associate our presence with heaviness, tension, or even guilt. Young people especially, who are still figuring out who they are, often internalize these comments in a personal way. A remark about kids today having no work ethic might feel like an attack. A complaint about how nothing is as good as it used to be can come across as criticism of their efforts or their future. Judging is even more isolating. When people feel judged, they shut down, they stop sharing, they pull away emotionally and sometimes physically. They no longer feel safe to be themselves. And while the intent behind judgment may come from experience or a desire to guide, the impact often leads to emotional distance. The truth is, people don't remember your advice nearly as much as they remember how you made them feel. If they felt belittled, dismissed, or unheard, they won't come back to that relationship for comfort or wisdom. We need to replace judgment with curiosity and compassion. Instead of saying, "Why would you do that?" we can ask, "Help me understand your thinking." Instead of assuming the worst, we can look for the heart behind the action. When people feel seen and supported instead of judged, they open up. They become receptive to wisdom, to correction, and to connection. And when we drop the habit of constant complaining, we make room for gratitude, laughter, and shared joy to enter our relationships again. Connection requires listening, vulnerability, and openness. Listening is more than hearing words. It's about being fully present with another human being. It's putting aside our urge to respond, correct, or fix, and simply holding space for someone else's voice. Too often, people, especially younger ones, feel like they're in a lecture, not a conversation. They don't want to be fixed. They want to be understood. And when they're given the gift of true listening, it builds trust. Openness is about having a posture of learning, even in later years. It's recognizing that we may not have all the answers and that life continues to evolve. Being open doesn't mean giving up wisdom. It means using wisdom to guide, not dominate. It means showing up in conversations with the mindset of "let me learn what it's like for you," instead of "let me tell you how it is." That shift changes everything. It softens resistance. It makes others more open to learning in return. Vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. When older adults show vulnerability, when they say, "I don't know," or "that hurt me," or "I miss how things used to be," it creates emotional intimacy. It invites empathy instead of defense. Vulnerability breaks the cycle of surface-level conversations and opens the door to real connection. It tells the other person, "You're safe to be real with me because I'm being real with you." Building true connection in relationships isn't about being the loudest, the wisest, or the most experienced. It's about being the most human, the most honest, the most present. When we choose to listen more, judge less, and open up to the people around us, we not only repair broken bonds, we create new ones that are deeper, richer, and more lasting than ever before. That's the kind of legacy worth leaving. Not just knowledge, but connection. Not just advice, but love. The past is valuable, but living in it prevents us from being present now. Our memories, our stories, and our experiences are treasures. They are lessons written in the ink of time, and they should be shared, honored, and celebrated. But when we live in the past, we begin to lose touch with the beauty and potential of the present. We start seeing today only through the lens of yesterday, comparing everything and everyone to what once was. That's when people around us begin to feel unseen. That's when life itself starts to feel like it's slipping away. Because we're not actually living it, we're just remembering it. When older adults constantly refer to the good old days, it can make the present feel inadequate. Younger generations may feel like they can never measure up, like nothing they do will ever be good enough because it's always compared to a golden era they never experienced. While it's true that times have changed, change doesn't mean decline. It means evolution. There are different ways of doing things now, different values, different struggles, and those deserve to be met with curiosity and respect, not resistance. The present moment is a gift, but it requires attention. It's the grandchild who wants to tell you about their passion for art, not hear how you did things differently when you were their age. It's your spouse who wants to enjoy a quiet meal with you now, not compete with memories of a busier, younger time. The people in your life are longing for your full presence today, not a filtered version that compares everything to the past. Nostalgia can be beautiful when it brings people together, when it's used to bond and reflect. But it becomes a barrier when it's used to escape or to judge the present. Living in the now doesn't mean forgetting the past. It means using the past as a foundation, not a destination. It means staying engaged with current conversations, trying new things, and showing up with fresh eyes and an open heart. Growth doesn't stop with age. Being present keeps your relationships alive, your mind active, and your spirit refreshed. It shows the world that you're not just a story from yesterday. You're still writing your story today. You can choose to be a source of wisdom, warmth, and inspiration at any age. Age does not determine relevance. Your impact isn't limited by your years, but by your willingness to stay engaged, to stay kind, and to stay teachable. There is nothing more powerful than an older adult who combines their life experience with a heart that is still open to learning. That kind of presence is magnetic. It inspires trust, respect, and admiration, not because of what you've done in the past, but because of how you carry yourself in the present. You don't have to lecture to lead. You don't have to criticize to correct. The most inspirational people are not the loudest. They are the ones who uplift, who encourage, who listen with depth and speak with kindness. You can be the elder others turn to, not because they're forced to out of obligation, but because they feel seen, heard, and loved in your presence. That kind of wisdom is rare and deeply needed in a world that often feels divided. Being a source of inspiration means choosing empathy over ego. It means seeing the best in others and speaking life into them, especially when they can't see it for themselves. It means showing younger people that aging is not about fading out. It's about stepping more fully into who you were always meant to be. It's about showing that growth has no age limit and that the most powerful form of leadership is leading by example. Every word you speak, every gesture you offer, every choice you make can plant seeds of confidence, compassion, and courage in the hearts of others. And when you live that way, you don't just age, you ascend. You become someone who makes people feel stronger, better, and more hopeful just by being around you. That is the legacy of a life well lived. That is the power of becoming not just older, but wiser. Not just aged, but awakened. To every older adult here or listening, your presence is needed, your story matters, but make sure your story is not just about what was, but about what can still be. Release what pushes people away. Embrace what draws them in. Be the elder who uplifts, not the one others tiptoe around, because wisdom is not just what you know, it's how you make people feel in your presence. Thank you.